Hey guys, welcome back to building our robot arm. So last week we added this main arm here that goes up and down. This week we're going to be attaching something from the peak right here that's going to connect to the top of this arm. And that's going to be, I call it the lift. The lift is the main thing that's going to be holding the claw that's going to come later. The claw is the thing that's going to be part of a robot arm that's going to allow it to grab things. So we're not going to do the claw today, but we're going to do the lift, which will be the thing that will be supporting the claw. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at the top-down view and take a look to see what parts we need. Okay, so looking at our parts here, we need 5 acrylic pieces, okay? We need this one. This one's easy to find. It's this kind of weird triangular shaped one. Okay, you want to get one of those, and you're also going to want one of these circles. All right, we're going to be using that as a spacer, and then you need 2 of these pieces here, these kind of long pieces here, 1, 2. And then there's actually the third one here, but we only need 2 in this situation. All right, and then we have this one right here, this guy. Now this one looks similar to these. The difference is that if you notice this area right here, it's a little bit thicker than these. Okay, so there's going to be one end that's kind of thicker that's going to signify that you got the right one. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so those are our 5 acrylic pieces. Now, in terms of fasteners, what we need is we need 2 of these M3 by 8s. So that's going to be 2 of these, and then 1 of these M3 by 6. Okay, so I'll go ahead and write that down. M3 by 8, M3 by 6. And those will help fasten everything together. So let's go ahead and give this thing a shot. All right, so here are my parts. All right, we got my triangular piece. I've got the 2 pieces that are similar. The third one that looks also similar, but has this rounder edge, the larger edge over here, and then the spacer here. All right, so let's go ahead and start putting this together. It's a little bit tricky, so we got to be careful. Go ahead and, as I'm doing this, you're gonna have to look carefully. All right. Okay. All right, I got my light on here. So first thing I want you to do is let's move some of these stuff out of the way. So we want this triangular piece, this little spacer circle thing, and then 1 of these. Okay, not this one with the thicker edge. Okay, 1 of these. All right, so the first thing that we want to do is you want to take this triangle piece and make sure it's oriented like this, where the where the arc, kind of the part that protrudes out this way more, is up top. Okay, like this would be the wrong way because the protruding part is on the bottom. All right, we want it on the top like that. All right, and then what's going to happen is that this is going to go down here like that. All right, but then what's going to happen is in between there is going to be this spacer like that, like a sandwich. All right, now to fasten that, we're going to use a longer screw. So we did an M3 by 6 and an M3 by 8. So the longer one's M3 by 8. So we're going to grab one of our M3 by 8s. And then what we want to do is we want to flip this little thing over, and we're going to screw in from the other side. So flipping it over like this. All right, and then we're going to screw in like that. Now the nice thing is, you see the top piece, it just slides through, so that makes it easy, and also the sandwich, it just slides through. The only part that's hard is screwing into this bottom part. So it slides through, and then kind of set it on there like that. Then we get our screwdriver. I'm going to hold it, and then we tighten kind of as far as we can. And then it's going to move around like this. Okay, here we go. Double check that you have it correct, all right? And that we have this protruding part up top, and then we have the thing in the middle, and then the long piece coming out, and the screw is coming up through the back there. All right, first module done. Let's go ahead and move to the second step. All right, so now that we've done that, we have our little mechanism here, right? We're gonna start attaching it to this guy. So first thing we need to do, we're gonna take our robot arm here, and I want you to orient it like this, okay? So you can see that the turret is facing forward, and then this hole, I call this the peak up here, is on the back, okay? Not like this, okay? But looking just like this, all right? So that's the first step. If we don't do that, it's gonna get kind of confusing, okay? Then we take this guy, I wanna put it down. Then we take this guy, and we're going to see how this thing will fit. So what's gonna actually happen is that we wanna turn it like this, all right? So we should see the screw, the top of the screw right here. This is gonna match with this hole right here. And then this is gonna match with this hole right here. So it's gonna be something like that. Okay? Looking good. Now you might be wondering about the other two pieces, right? So there's going to be this piece, which has the larger round piece. This little arm with the larger round piece is actually going to be sandwiched on the bottom part like this. All right, and then this other one is going to be on the top. All right, so let us first do, you know what? We should probably do this one, this piece first. So I'm going to move this out of the way, okay, my turret stuff. This piece is going to fit up here. Now, something I want you to notice is that you see how this one had 1, 2, a 3 stack. This part only has a 2 stack. So you could probably guess this one's going to use a shorter screw because I only have to connect 2 things. Now, does it go like this or does it go in the back like this? So actually it goes in the back like this. All right, so we have it like this. So this is going to go in the back, and then let's flip it over. And our M3x6 screw is going to go right there. So here's my shorter M3x6 screw. And let's get this thing in there. And again, it should just slide through on the top one. And then the bottom part is going to be the one that has to self-tap in there. All right, let's get this guy in there. pretty good, but not great yet. Let's get in there more. Okay, it's like a little bit loose still. Let's okay, so you still want it to be able to move, but not necessarily like flimsy. So this is good, like it can move, but it's not flimsy. All right, so now I have my thing coming together. Let's bring this back, remember, our turret thing. And then we take our piece, and remember this will go here. And then this needs to match with that hole, except we have to sandwich something in between the top here and the bottom, and that's using this part right here. So we're gonna stick this in as a sandwich, and we have one screw left, right? We have a M3 by 8. Now the question is, does it go through the top here or the bottom? You know what? We're going to go through the top this time. Okay, it's going through the top. All the way through, got to go through all three. Make sure it kind of matches up there. All right, now this is where, you know, you want to be a little bit careful, because what's going to happen if I push down with all my force with this as I'm turning, I could crack this stuff. Like I could crack this, I could crack this, okay? So what you need to do is you got to put some pressure on this this area with my finger, like my finger right here, so that it's so that I don't transfer the pressure onto this area right here, which could cause it to break, okay? So as you're doing this part, we want to be careful, because the last thing we want to do is break these pieces when we're almost done, because we are almost done building. All right, let's get this thing in there. Not bad. Still, this is a little bit flimsy, so I'm gonna go a little bit more, and I'll turn it this way. Nice, very nice. Okay, and if you look at this, if you've done it right, you can see, if you look down the lines, like it's all straight. Like it's straight here, it's straight here, it's straight here. So if something's not straight, like if you have a piece that's bent in like this or something like that, and I'm kind of pushing it, that means that something is off. You probably want to rewatch the video, make sure that you probably have, like, you know, this part is supposed to be on this side, but maybe you put it on this side, or you put the spacer on the wrong side or something like that. Okay, so one thing to double check is that everything, all these lines here, all these parts, they're all straight. All right, so here we go. Now, going back to this view, this needs to connect to here, right? So I didn't tell you to grab another screw. We've already used the 3 that we wanted, that we took. So we're gonna get another screw. And here's the thing that I found out. If you take, we're gonna use an M3. You could use an M3 by, because there's only 2 pieces here, right? Maybe an M3 by 6, because that's what we used up here. But check this out. Yours may or may not be like this, but I found with mine, if I take an M3 by 6 and I put it through, it doesn't even, it just falls out. You know, like it's in all the way, but it doesn't, you know, obviously this is not going to work. So what's going on there is that this hole right here is too big to be self-tapping. So it's too loose for this screw to tap into it. So what do we do? Well, what I did is, let's just take an M3 by 8, okay, which is a little bit longer. So we'll go here, M3 by 8, and then now it's protruding there a little bit, right? And I thought, well, there are some extra nuts here, so then we grab a nut here, and then we can fasten it. So instead of using the self-tapping feature, let's just fasten this like that. Should work just as fine. Tighten it a little bit. All right. There we go. So check it out. So now we have this action here. All right. There we go. All right, guys, so we are almost there. So what we're going to do now is we are going to build what we call the extender. Okay, the extender is going to help us extend our arm further out. All right. So let's look at the top-down view and check out what parts we need for this part. All right, so here's our top-down view here, and let's take a look. Make sure I got my pen going. Okay, so what do we need? We need this big piece right here. That's one. What else do we need? We need this guy right here. That's 2. We also need the third one that looked just like the others. One of these. Okay. We're also going to need a servo horn, a single wing servo horn. Okay, one of those. We're going to need a servo screw. Okay, one of these. Sorry, my pen's so thick, but I think we'll make it through, guys. Okay, and then we have we need M3. Let me reduce the size here. Okay, we need 2 M3 by 6, so kind of these smaller ones here. And then we need 1 M3 by 8. Okay, so let's give this one a shot. So I'm going to go over to our top-down view. All right, so this one, kind of like that other one that we just did, you got to make sure you get the layering right and all that. So let's make sure you watch carefully, okay? All right, so first thing I'm going to do is grab this guy. This is like that kind of funny looking, kind of like a huge servo horn. Okay, then you're going to grab your servo horn, your single tip servo horn, and you are going to put this underneath like that so that it comes through. All right, and then you're going to take your servo screw and it's going to screw in through here, and it's going to go through the back there. Okay, so I'm going to get it started. All right, once it's started, you can keep on screwing it all the way through. Okay, nice and solid. All right, I think that's pretty good. All right, now let's grab this piece, okay? Notice both sides are the same on this one. All right, so then we put this, and we have to guess, or we have to think about it. Is it gonna go like this, where it's on top of the other one, or is it on the bottom? So it's actually gonna be on the bottom, okay? And again, if you get this wrong, your pieces are gonna be like bent, okay? So let's make sure, put this piece on the bottom. And then it's only 2 pieces, right? So we can use an M3x6 to fasten these. So I'm going to get an M3x6. Okay. And we are going to go through the bottom here, okay? So I'm going to, this is the way we want it, so I'm going to flip it and put it through. All right, the top part should just slide through, and then the part that self-taps is the bottom. All right, just to make sure, it's like this screw right here should be sticking up towards you, okay? All right, now let's screw it in. Okay, this is pretty good. I could probably do a little bit more, so. Okay, I'm actually, you may not be able to tell, it's like really stiff. We may not want it that stiff, so I'm gonna loosen it just a little bit. Okay, I think I like that more. So it's not flimsy, but it's also not that hard to move around. If it's too hard to move around, your servos might have a problem with it. All right, so we are looking good. We got one more piece. We got this guy right here. All right, now notice there's the big piece right here, okay, and then we have the short little segment and then the long segment. The hole closest to the short segment needs to connect to this hole. All right, and this also, it needs to be, this is on top of that. All right, so kind of like last time, we could think, well, these two, it's just 2 pieces, right? So we could probably use an M3x6, but I didn't ask you to get an M3x6 because you could probably guess, just like last time, if I stick this through, mine's like this, see, they both just fall out. This is no good. So we're gonna use M3x8 with a nut, okay? So we have, let me make sure we got it right. So this is on top like that. And I'm gonna get my M3x8. Go through, okay, then I have a little bit sticking through, and I can have the nut here. I'm going to hold the nut here and screw it in. Okay, that's good. So there's my lift assembly. The next step is attaching this to the rest of my robot arm. So let's go ahead and give that a shot. All right, so here's my piece here, my robot arm, and then our lift right here. So what's gonna happen is I want to first turn our robot like this. All right, so notice this side's all flat, okay? The peak's on the other side. And then I want you to notice up here, this hole right here, okay? This hole is actually going to connect to this, okay? And then down here, you see this servo horn, that's going to connect to this servo motor right here, which we're going to install in a second too. So first, let's connect this to here. Now this is just a two pieces of acrylic, so M3 by 6. Let's go ahead and do that. So M3 by 6 screw, go in through here, through the top. Just slide through like that, okay? And then this is this part's small enough, this hole's small enough that it can self-tap through. So match it up. All right, and then again, just like earlier, we want to be careful with this, guys. Not too much pressure where we break it, okay? Okay, again, if you're just don't just push down like that. You're gonna break things. Give it push back with a finger like this up, okay? I'm gonna turn it like this. Yeah, this is actually probably the best way. You can see our arm is coming together. This is still very loose, so we don't want that. Let's get some more. All right. Probably do a little bit more. Okay, that should be good. All right, so at this point, the last thing to do here is let's install this servo motor. I'm just gonna go ahead and just jump into it. So we've got the servo motor here, and then one of these pieces here, okay? So we should have, everyone should have one more of these. So let's go ahead and mount this through like this, okay? And then just like on this side, we're gonna put this through the hole. Like that. And then the way you mount is to put a screw through here. Now we could do an M3 by 8. So let's check this out. Make sure it's good. But what I find, guys, is that this top one here, both these holes, they're too big that you can't self-tap. But actually down here, this one works well. So what I'm going to do is going to just do the bottom one, and yours may be the same. Okay, I'll do the bottom one for now. Do a little more. Again, we got to be careful, guys, because this is where bad things could happen if we're not careful. Okay. Okay, so I have the bottom one fastened. The top one, like, what are we gonna do? Well, you might have some extra a longer screw that could go through, like maybe an M310 could go through, right? And you could put a nut right there. But I'm just going to leave that off for now. I'll let you guys troubleshoot that on your own. Let's go ahead. I'm going to say this part right here, Servo Horn's going to connect to right to the top of that servo motor shaft. So we're gonna, let me get this out of the way here so you can see. It should snap on there. Okay, so I just realized this, guys, and I think this is the second time I've made this mistake, but you see this part of the servo horn, sorry, this part of the servo horn is actually the top of the servo horn. That does not fit onto this part of the servo shaft. So actually, it should be the other side. It should be the other side of this thing. So I need to take this entire thing and flip it. So that's something to look for when you guys do this, is that, see back here, so you see there's the bigger slot here. This part is the part that will fit into the servo shaft. Now, fortunately, it's just one screw. So let's go ahead and just, this screw right here, the one right here, we just need to undo this guy. Okay. All right. And let's try again. Now making sure it's not like this, but it should be this way. And then you kind of just bend this. Okay. So it should be like this. All right. Okay, now we should be good. So key thing, the bigger side, the bigger hole should be facing towards you. All right. And then now let's fasten this together. Let's make sure I have a screw here. There we go. A little bit more. Okay, and then now this will go snap in there. Wonderful. Cool. So now check it out. Now I got this motor right here. We'll do this action. And then this motor over here does that. All right, so here we go. We have 3 motors connected here. Let's go ahead. The challenge today for this week is really just to get all 3 motors moving. But even before you do that, you need to calibrate this motor right here. So just like we calibrated the base motor and then also this motor right here, we need to calibrate this one. So what we want it to do is that when, let's see like how this motor can move. So it can move like that. And really, if you look at it, what is this motor doing? It's moving this part, which moves this part, which then moves this part, okay? Now, the range of motion then is probably something like here to there, okay? And we notice that like when it goes all the way like this, you see it extends out. And then when it goes like that, it comes in, all right? That's why we call this motor is going to be, this motor right here is called the extend and retract motor. All right, so what we want is that this position right here should be 90 degrees, okay? And then when we move to that position there, we'll see this can either be 0 or 180, okay? You guys figure out what this should be, because it depends on how the motor is oriented, if this is 0 or 180. But this should be 90, all right, when this is straight up. And then this should be 0 or 180. And we do not want it to go past okay? Because obviously, like, this part hitting below, like this arm part hitting below the base, that doesn't make sense, right? So we just want to go 90 to that part. All right, so only 90 degrees of motion on this motor. Go ahead and calibrate it, and then the following week we'll keep going. We'll put the claw on there, and we'll basically have our robot arm build done. All right, we'll talk to you later.